Here is our Protoss player. He was actually at 1-2. 1 win and 2 losses in the group before. Has barely scraped his way back into this by beating Trickster a couple times.
JYP.
And is now on the verge of victory if he can just beat MarineKing.
He's on the verge.
And here is his Terran opponent. Has fallen a long way.
MarineKing Prime wins.
He's just trying to climb back up that mountain.
That's right, man.
It's like a mountain on
up the
top of a mountain, which is much bigger than it, which is the Code 8 qualifier.
It's true.
Hopefully he doesn't fall off that mountain anytime soon, or he is, you may never see him again. People fall off that mountain, like Rainbow.
Dude, I did
don't
that.
ever see them again.
Aw, poor Rainbow. Actually, that happened to me once, well, sort of, with the mountains. Like, I was like doing this hike, and I was like, I want to get to the top of this like mountain. It's like a famous mountain. It's called Sleeve League in Ireland. It's like it's really tall cliff, whatever. And so I'm like, oh well, like I'm gonna hike over here, and I like hiked a little while, and I was like, well, I was just gonna go this far and go back, but now it looks like the top is like right there, because I'd driven most of the way up. So I was like, oh well, I started near the top, so that must be the top right there. And so I hiked up the hill. I got to the crest. And there was like another crest that was like hidden behind it that like wasn't tall enough to stick out above it. But once I got to it, I saw it in the background. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it's just right there. So it's just a little farther for that crest, and that looks like it's the top. So I went like down a little valley and up again, and like there was another hidden like crest behind that. And I literally did that like 3 times before I was like, all right, this was gonna be a 5-minute walk. I set out with like no food and water on this hike, and it's been an hour. I should probably go back before I die.
Was it like one of those little nutcracker things, or you like open it, there's another one inside, and you would keep opening it?
Yeah, the Russian dolls.
There was no one in the middle. It like went down to microscopic size.
Well, I was probably getting not that far away from the real top at that point, but it was like, all right, well, I've already been out here for like 45 minutes, an hour. I have no like supplies. I'm starting to get thirsty and hungry.
Well, you know, if you think that's hard, I don't know, Moltrep. I think the Code 8 qualifiers.
I think the Code 8 qualifiers are probably harder than that. You're right. You're right.
Well, MarineKing is making a factory and adding a second gas. No reactor just yet on this barracks. I think he's going to make it as soon as that Marine finishes. There it is. So he started the reactor. Chrono Boost going down on the Warp Gate research end as well as the stock. It's pretty common to see, although I was joking about it earlier. I don't know if I said it on cast or if I was just talking to Moltrep about it. Someone was like, accusing me of, he was like, I could tell you were going to cheese me because you did that. I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Everybody does that.
MarineKing, I gotta point out here, appears to be doing the exact same build he did before on this map.
Yeah.
He went before, he got some Hellions. First he tried for a Hellion drop with Marines, and when that didn't work, he just got basically a ton of Marines with siege tanks and some Vikings and just went for the kill. So we're gonna see if he does the same thing. This time, JYP not getting a Stargate, so he's not gonna have that Void Ray to fend off the drop and force Vikings, so might see a different story here in this game.
Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit different.
A little bit different. And
when Starport finishes, we're gonna see that medevac. Now, with what JYP is doing, he's just not going to have very many units when the drop hits. And if his stalkers are poking at the ramp or in the middle of the map, he's really going to be in trouble. I mean, really. Really. Yeah, this could hit. I mean, this attack's going to hit here pretty soon. I like that JYP has positioned a pylon at the bottom of his base so you can see that's the most likely place we're going to see a drop. It's also most likely elevator situation you would see. It's the closest area where
the Marines coming out, but he hit the Hellions behind, so he's got Marines going in the front, he's going to have Hellions coming in the back. He may draw the forces to the back with the Hellions and then attack the front, or vice versa.
This is actually going to be so scary, and he just warped in 2 sentries. Not what he wants to have for this. Force fields go down to block these Hellions, but they're still killing a lot of probes.
He needs to lift those up.
Look at that! He stacked them all up like crazy.
So close to killing so many probes. One more shot, and the Marines come in to finish the deal. And Immortal is out, which even though Marines are good against Immortals, that Immortal just has too many hit points. And it is going to be enough to deter that attack. I gotta say, I think MarineKing could have controlled those Hellions better. He
absolutely.
he got them stuck by force fields and he got them stuck by probes and he had a medevac there to lift them and move them. He didn't.
Well, JYP kept stacking his probes, so there were several situations where MarineKing could have killed like literally half of his probes with a swipe. And now MarineKing looks like he's going to be following this up with a Banshee, a Raven tank Marine timing attack. It's not going to be the Banshee version. He might bring one Banshee, but he's putting the emphasis on the Raven.
Yep, and yeah, he may wait for enough for a points defense drone and then go or something along those lines. Although not a ton of stalkers around. Although he is going to want more stalkers. And there's the robotics bay going down. If he can get a Colossus out, he's going to be safe against this. It's all going to depend on the timing.
This is really smart by JYP. He's actually just reacting to what he's seen. He's just like, well, you're not going to make a command center, I'm not going to make a Nexus. And if this situation occurs, Protoss usually gets the better hand. MarineKing is ahead in supply though. He's had a better working count for a long time now. And JYP is trying to poke at these Marines, but with a medevac out, every time he pokes at a Marine, it just is insignificant.
This doesn't really make a difference.
He
actually could get the medevac. Oh, nice.
We were all three of us were thinking the same thing.
That's right.
Nice control here with these Stalkers, but the Observer does go down. He's taking a lot of hits on these Stalkers as well. He's trying to buy time here for his Colossus to get out. Just now starting his first Colossus. Siege mode is almost done here. He wants to get the tank, but he just can't.
He should probably draw him to the side instead of into his base if he wants to try and buy time. There is an Immortal
where's
here.
the Immortal going? He's trying to go around to hide and target down the tank.
That's actually pretty smart. He does have the Banshee in play now, though. Siege mode is almost complete. It looks like he's going to siege up on the low ground. He doesn't have the medevac to ferry things into the main, though. So he's like, oh, actually, I can't siege up on the low ground. I'm going to have to go around through the front.
I really love that JYP has that Immortal hiding over there. At first I was like, what is he doing? And now I'm like, oh, this is so smart.
Yeah, it is actually in perfect position. Colossus is almost
goes
out.
The Zealots are at the back, though. The Siege tank's not in siege mode, and the Colossus comes out. But I don't know if JYP has enough units. The Immortal coming to engage the Siege tanks. A lot of these Marines going down to the Colossus. I think JYP just may barely hold here.
Barely holds. The Stalkers polish off the Banshee, but the tanks do polish off the Colossus as well. It loses all the tanks. JYP is not in the best position, but he has help for now. Trying to get another Colossus out since he lost that one Colossus. That was really well played by JYP. He made the best of that situation.
Yeah, I think MarineKing's got the army, though, that can be defensive, so MarineKing can just make a command center now. And JYP is not going to be able to punish that very easily because he lost that Colossus, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, and MarineKing, of course, has siege mode too, so...
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, he's got this ability to be defensive, whereas JYP doesn't have that. It's hard for him to want to make a Nexus. Now, there's the command center going down from MarineKing. He's just playing this so smartly. And JYP is in a world of hurt. Every Protoss has been in this situation after the Marine tank timing attack of any kind, even a Raven timing attack, where after that, your opponent just harasses you like MarineKing does. You kind of have to stay in your base. And then what do? If you make a Nexus, he can just unsiege and attack you and kill you, it feels like. It's not that easy, but you feel really scared, but you're like, well, he's making a command center, what do? I can't attack him. And it's almost like you just eventually get into the situation where you lose. It's like the game, if the game feels like it's already over.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if maybe like hiding an expansion or doing something to draw.
That's the only thing you can really
draw
do.
him to the opposite side of the map or something like that might be a way to go. The two more Banshees coming in here.
Yeah, they're going to
wow.
kill these units because there's two of them, and the Sentry will go down very quickly. Nice control putting the weakened Banshee back first. And get a Stalker.
Actually not nice control engaging those Stalkers. Well, he tried to get one and then fall back. Didn't get it.
Man, MarineKing is just outplaying JYP right now.
Yeah, it was a nice move targeting down those sentries too.
It all goes back to the drop. If the drop had been deflected, then JYP would have been able to hold that push so much easier, then would have been in a position to counterattack. But they traded evenly after JYP was behind to begin with. And JYP is going to try to make a Nexus here, but MarineKing is going to have so much more production. In fact, he's adding more barracks already. Adding a tech lab.
3 Banshees moving across the top of the map.
3 Banshees versus 3
They're
Stalkers.
Beat some Stalkers.
That doesn't go too well for the Stalkers.
He's going to warp in more Stalkers though. He doesn't have Cloak on those Banshees, but he's just picking off some probes while he can. And He needs every probe he can get right now. Look at that. The 3 Banshees are actually even going to get out alive. Down to 20 probes right now.
20 to 35. More tanks being rallied out. I'll give you guys some unit numbers. 21 probes with 35 SCVs, 5 Zealots, a Colossus, 10 Stalkers for JYP. He's also got a Sentry in there. MarineKing has 35 SCVs, 3 Banshees, 5 Siege Tanks, and 44 Marines.
Wow, look at this though. This is actually pretty cool. It's not going to do much good, but JYP is actually moving his Stalkers down to the bottom of the map, hoping to catch those Banshees as they move around the bottom. And the Banshees were actually en route, and now they've changed route. So those Stalkers are just actually in the middle of the map for no reason when MarineKing's huge army is barreling down on him.
This is going to be so hard for JYP to hold. The Banshees are going to want to target the Colossus.
Yeah, he rejoins those Stalkers back up.
Look at how clumped JYP's army is. That's just the nature of this army composition right now, and the Siege Tanks are just going to do so much damage to that. MarineKing's up 50 supply. He's just always had a better economy during this entire game. Sieging up here, good force fields, but it's not going to be enough.
Banshee's doing tons of damage. He's targeting down the Colossus with the Siege Tanks. The Colossus goes down. That was going to be a saving grace, and JYP was so close to claiming that Codes medallion. And now, despite these Stalkers coming in from behind, it looks like MarineKing is still going to be in it. He's fought his way back into this. And as soon as these Stalkers go down, that's going to be the end for JYP, and we are going to go to a 3rd match. GG, JYP doesn't quite pull it off.
MarineKing looks relieved.
Yeah. And now it's all going to be in MarineKing's hands. He is going to be playing Trickster.
Now, if he beats Trickster, then he will be the one.
Exactly. So now it's going to be, he's going to have that position where if he wins, he gets Codes.
But if he loses, we start over again.
And if he loses, we start over again. Yep. Go back to JYP versus Trickster, I believe. After that.
If you're a MarineKing fan, obviously you want him to win. If you're a JYP fan, then you want MarineKing to lose.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how this group type of stage goes on. It's like when the Prime team was about to make the playoffs or not based on another team's performance.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's one of those things where if you're a fan, you just got to sit back at home and bite your nails and hope for the best when things are out of your player's control.
Yeah, or like F United's last match actually keeping
OGS
out of the playoffs.
Yep.
So very, very interesting. Trickster and MarineKing are going to be facing off in the final, well, maybe the final game.
The map is Crossfire.
When I say stuff like that, sometimes I like balk because I'm like, oh, now they're going to think that I like spoiled it because I know it, and I was trying not to act like I knew it when I did, but there's actually no way I can know it since it hasn't happened yet. So sometimes I've done that. I've done casts off replays or off VODs or whatever, and I actually sometimes know the result, and I just try to pretend that I don't know it just so that people aren't spoiled. And
that's why I'm a livest man.
And every once in a long, long while, I'll accidentally let something slip like that, but usually I don't. But yeah, I mean, I try to cast things that I haven't had spoiled almost all the time.
Yeah, it's very difficult to cast something that you know. I mean, I know that other casters out there watching this will be like, yeah, I know what he means. Like, if the guy sent me 3 replays and it was a best of 5, like, yeah. I don't know. Like, that's not going to...
Yeah, that's always tough.
We've all had those.
Yeah, or the worst is when, like, it's like game 5 of a series. It's like the semifinals, and you cast it, and the video messes up, and you lose the whole thing, and you have to cast the whole thing again, even though you've seen the whole game.
I don't deal with that, man.
It's tough.
Well, luckily, these types of crashes
don't happen. You got to do it for the fans, man. Got to do it.
Well, hopefully Trickster this time, he played a PvT on Crossfire earlier where he did a terribly executed all-in, and then his opponent just gave him the win anyways. That's what happened with Tasia. If you guys haven't watched that, go back and watch the VOD of that game and watch an 11 assimilator into a bad all-in into Tasia saying, well, it's okay, I wanted you to beat me anyways. And trying to attack up a ramp where he sees with a factory and a Xel'Naga Watchtower that there are at least 5 sentries of full energy. Not a good idea. That ranting aside, Trickster versus MarineKing coming up here. MarineKing 1 win away. Trickster's got to win this if he wants another shot, and JYP sitting on the bench, hoping
biting his
that
fingernails.
loses. Don't go anywhere. The game's starting now. You're like, well, I wouldn't go anywhere. The game's starting.